It's Off Broadway week. Here we go. Hey, welcome back to Black Star Reviews. We are back. My name is Anastasia X, and I founded this YouTube channel and Black Star Reviews as an idea because I want to shine a light on the work of Black creatives in New York City and beyond. I love art almost as much as I love Black people, and that love is found itself in Black History Month 2025. And even though there is a lot of terrible, horrible, awful things happening, I find joy in the fact that this is the time to celebrate my people. And that's what we're going to do. So let's talk about Off Broadway week. Now, admittedly, there's not a lot to celebrate. There is not a lot for us to celebrate this Off Broadway week. But be that as it may, I'm going to take us through the information that could be helpful to you. And don't worry, I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm not going to leave you empty-handed like Off Broadway week tried to do to me. So I'm going to tell you what the options are, and then I'm going to give you even more options so that you can celebrate Black History Month by supporting the work of Black creatives. Okay, so I'm going to talk about three things. I'm going to tell you how the tickets work. I will tell you what shows are on sale, and then I will give you my recommendations at the end. And if you saw my Broadway week video, this is going to be similar, but a lot shorter because there's less to talk about, but it's going to follow a similar frame. So here we go with part one. All right, part one, how do the tickets work? So similar to Broadway week, the main sale is that tickets are buy one, get one. The language that they use on the website is that they're 2 for 1, but what that means is you buy 2. But what that means is you buy 1 and you get 2, which is the same as buying 1 and getting 1 free, which is also the same as buying 2 tickets at half off. So whatever it is, just cut the price in half. You're going to get twice as much value for the money that you would spend. And you can either book directly on the New York City Off Broadway week website, or you can go directly to the website of the show that you want to see and use the promo code. Get ready, grab a pencil. Promo code OBW25. So if that's going to be tough for you to remember, just Off Broadway week 25. And you could just type that into the promo code box when you get to the website of the show that you want to see. I'm going to add in a little more information here before we go on to what shows are on sale, because sometimes people want to know, like, well, what is Off Broadway and how come I can't see Aladdin as part of the Off Broadway week sale? Great questions, and you've come to the right place. I am here to help. So Off Broadway is a designation of theater based on the capacity. So when I first moved here, I thought that like any theater that wasn't on Broadway, as in the street, was considered Off Broadway. But the longer I lived here and the more research that I did, I realized there were Broadway theaters on 8th Avenue. There were Broadway theaters on 54th Street, right? So it's all about the number of seats. The biggest theaters, like the theaters with the highest capacity of people, are mostly around that Midtown area, like 42nd Street. That's why they call it the theater district. So in order to be a Broadway theater, you have to have more than 500 seats. That means that an off-Broadway theater can have anywhere from 100 to 499 seats. Once you hit 500, you are officially Broadway. So that's the reason why there's only one promo available for Off-Broadway week. Like during Broadway week, you could do the 2 for 1, or you could buy like a VIP ticket, which would give you a discount on like a premium seat. In an off-Broadway theater, we're talking about less than 499 seats to choose from anyway. So all of the seats are going to have very similar views. So I love off-Broadway theater because that's when we get into like quirky stuff, cool stuff, seeing things before they like hit it big and go to Broadway. Some stuff never goes from off-Broadway to Broadway, and honestly, I think that's okay. Every once in a while I'll read a book where I'm like, oh wow, that's a very novel idea, right? Pun intended. Or I'll see a movie where I'm like, what were they smoking when they made this movie, right? And sometimes I feel that way when I go to an off-Broadway show, but I find it endearing. However, some off-Broadway shows, they hit, right? And they're whisked away to Broadway. So to give an example, Hamilton started off-Broadway at the Public Theater, and then it moved to Broadway, and then it became a global sensation, and now you can watch it on Disney Plus, right? It's part of the fabric of Americana. Hell's Kitchen, the Alicia Keys show, started at the Public Theater as well, and then went to Broadway. So if you are adventurous enough, if you can be open-minded enough to try an off-Broadway show, you might be able to see something really great before it becomes, you can't get tickets and it's at its apex. So that's why I like off-Broadway, and that's why some of the bigger shows that you may have heard of are not participating, because they're not in off-Broadway theaters. On to part 2, what shows are on sale? All right, part 2, let's get into what shows are on sale. So I'm going to show you exactly how to find out, and I will also read you the list. So you're going to open a browser and you want to go to New York City Broadway Week. So I just like to type it into your search engine, and then you will have that option, New York City Off-Broadway Week. And it's the first thing that comes up. So the URL is nyctourism.com/off-Broadway week. So once you get there, you're gonna see this little design, and you can see that, I forgot to say the dates earlier. Sorry, y'all. So the dates for Off-Broadway Week are February 17th to March 9th. Tickets went on sale and the lineup was announced on February 4th. So this video is coming out sandwiched right between when tickets went on sale and when the shows actually start. So thank you all for being patient until the weekend so that I had time to actually make this video for you, because during the week it was not happening. Okay, so back to the webpage. Here's the promo code, like I was saying earlier, and let's scroll through the shows. Now remember, we are rooting for everybody Black.
Who are you rooting for tonight?
I'm rooting for everybody Black. I am.
Here we go. Titanic. No. Juliet, a revenge comedy. No. Wounded by Jiggs Burgess. Now I was curious and I looked up Jiggs because I was like, you never know. But no. Dungeons and Dragons, the 20-Sided Tavern. No. Music City, a new musical. No. The Gazillion Bubble Show. No. And to be clear, when I say we're rooting for everyone Black, I'm talking about Black cast members, Black writers, Black directors. And so the reason why I'm saying no to all these shows is I'm not telling you to not see them. I'm just saying that they don't represent Black stories, which is what this channel is all about. Continuing, Mind Play. Now, I am a big fan of magic and mentalism and illusions, but this is not Black. Emilio's A Million Chameleons. They must have made that difficult to say on purpose. No. Drunk Shakespeare, no. Garside's Career. Los Soles Truncos. I went and looked at the playwright to see if maybe it's like an Afro-Latino situation. It's not. But still support, person of color. But in terms of Blackness, Black story, no. The Jonathan Larson Project. I'm a big fan of Rent. I like the show, but in terms of Blackness, no, this is not going to get you there. On to page 2. Singfeld, an unauthorized musical parody about nothing. No, I'm a big fan of Seinfeld, but this is not a Black story. After Endgame. Nope. Drag the Musical. I saw this show, and there are maybe 2 Black drag queens in the show who both did a fantastic job, but I wouldn't call this a Black story until they change maybe the casting for the leads. Beauty and the Beast, the musical. No. The Office, a musical parody. No. Kowalski. No. Here's one. Gil Scott Heron Bluesology. So it says, this off-Broadway work celebrates the life and impact of the poet, musician, and spoken word artist. So Gil Scott-Heron is the person who gave us that fantastic quote, "The revolution will not be televised," and many other lesser known but equally impactful quotes. So this is something Black. You can see in the picture there's Black people in the show. They're talking about a Black person, and I would definitely recommend this. I'm going to check this out myself. Next, a letter to Lyndon B. Johnson or God, whoever reads this first. Lots of stars in their review, but not a Black story. Friends, the musical parody. Oh my God. I'm not even going to address Friends. The play that goes wrong, no. Still, no. Perfect Crime, no. On to the final page. And you can see on this last page, these don't have thumbnails, so don't worry, I already did the research. We have Dakar 2000. I looked up Rajiv Joseph. Nope. Wine in the Wilderness. No. And Nuttin but a Word. Now, there is a typo in the description here. It says, see all kids of moves. And I thought it was a kid's show. And I was like, oh, I don't want to see it. But I did visit the website. And as you can see, it is a hip hop show. And it is all about the 3 laws of hip hop: individuality, creativity, and innovation. They say every step tells a story. And the artist believes that hip hop can express universal themes beyond racial, religious, and economic boundaries. So I think this is a cool show if you are into dance, and if you want to try something new. So those are the participating shows in Off-Broadway Week for the spring. And if that, didn't do anything for you because you were looking for a few more options, don't worry. Not only does Off-Broadway Week come back in the fall, but in part 3, I will share with you my recommendations for finding ways to celebrate Off-Broadway Week and Black History Month at the same time this month. All right, we have made it to part 3, which is where I give you my recommendations. Now, as I scrolled through the website, I showed you that there were 2 shows that I do recommend from the Off-Broadway Week lineup. I haven't seen either of these shows, but if you are looking for a Black story or a Black team, those are the shows that you're going to want to check out. So those were Bluesology and also Nuttin but a Word. So check those out. I am going to try to check out the first one, the Gil Scott-Heron one, and maybe you all can tell me what you thought of Nuttin but a Word. But just because shows are not participating in Off-Broadway Week doesn't mean that there are not Black people working and creating and emoting in off-Broadway settings. So here are some choices. I have 2 for you. The first is actually coming up soon. So this opportunity will be before Off-Broadway Week even starts. Like, those performances begin on February 17th. But if you are looking for something to do, maybe with your Valentine, I don't know, and you're free on February 15th, there is going to be a show at the Billie Holiday Theater. Now, the Billie Holiday Theater is in Brooklyn. It is a legacy Black theater. It was founded in 1972 as part of the Black arts movement. So that was the time when we were unified and we were like, we are going to create these institutions for ourselves. There used to be many more of those, but over time they've shuttered. So the Billie Holiday Theater deserves our support because it's been there for us and we should be there for it. And also it has really amazing, cool shows that spotlight Black stories. So they have been doing this series called Billie and Beyond, really exploring the legacy of Billie Holiday, for whom their theater is named. And on February 15th, they are going to have singer-songwriter Lydia in the building, singing her renditions and also sharing her stories related to Billie Holiday. So that is going to be amazing. They do have specials on the tickets if you move quickly, but if you are looking for let's say maybe a very classy date in the New York City area for under $100 for 2 tickets, then that is something that you need to check out. And I am in the process of getting my tickets. So if you're there, you may see me there as well. So I'm wishing you all a happy Valentine's Day. And even if you are not in romantic love, remember there's plenty of Black love, community love for all of us to go around. And I have another recommendation, and this one is particularly exciting for me. There's a theater called Soho Rep, and it used to be downtown, but right now they've moved, and so they're now in Midtown, which for some of you may be convenient. They are having a play called The Great Privation, or let me make sure I have the name of this show right. The title of the show is The Great Privation, How to Flip 10 Cents into a Dollar. And it's written by Nia Akila Robinson. So this show caught my eye because you can see she's holding there the 145th Street subway sign. And Nia Akila Robinson is a Harlem native. That's very clear in her bio. And she wrote the show. There are some accoladed actors in the show as well. But what I really like about Soho Rep as a theater and why I'm looking forward to seeing The Great Privation is because every time I go to Soho Rep, I see something that really shifts my mind view. And they have won awards for the shows that they've put up and the stories that they've spotlighted. And I did a review of a show called The Fires by Raja Feather Kelly last year in the spring. And I loved that show. I gave it 4 stars in my review, and it actually just won an Obie Award. So not only do I feel great about my taste, I also am very happy for Soho Rep and also overjoyed for Raja Feather Kelly, who I have interacted with on Instagram a few times. So I am rooting for him from afar. But other shows that I've seen at Soho Rep include An Octoroon by Brandon Jacobs Jenkins, Give Me Carmelita Tropicana, also by Brandon Jacobs Jenkins, and The Fires by Raja Feather Kelly, as I said. And so I'm looking forward to seeing The Great Privation, and I'm looking so forward to it. In fact, I decided that I was going to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of Black Star Reviews at that show. So if you want to join me in celebrating a year of Black Star Reviews and also to be there for some exciting announcements that I'm going to make, grab a ticket to The Great Privation on the Soho Rep website. The tickets start at $35, but right now they are on sale for $25. So if you move quickly, you can get a seat. So yes, again, that is February 28th, which is a Friday night, and we're going to be celebrating the 1-year anniversary of Black Star Reviews. We're also going to be celebrating the culmination of what I am claiming as a fantastic, uplifting, liberatory Black History Month. And I am so excited to see the show and also celebrate with everyone. So in closing, it is Off Broadway week starting on February 17th, but you can start to get your tickets right now. And even though we don't have a ton of representation in Off Broadway week, that doesn't mean that we're invisible. It doesn't mean that we're not here. I hope that you will use this month reaching out, supporting each other, supporting the people that you know, right, who are doing something cool in your city, even if you don't live in New York. I'm wishing everyone peace, as much as you can scrape out for yourself. And I'm sending you so much Black love and starlight. Please stay tuned. There's so much more to come. I'm looking forward to finishing out this first year of Black Star Reviews, and your support and commitment really means the world to me. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And back to the rave.